Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. Something just happened that hasn't occurred with XRP in 12 years. And that's a pretty substantial time, especially when you factor in that XRP isn't even quite 14 years old yet, so it's been a while. And look, I'll just acknowledge this up front. It will sound bad to people on the surface. It will. But it's not actually. In fact, what I'm about to show you, it's actually in line with normal crypto behavior. But it's that XRP price has now been down for 6 months in a row. And again, that has not happened literally in 12 years. In fact, the only other time in history that this did happen with XRP was way back in 2014. But I got some perspective I want to share with you, and you'll see why I'm actually very optimistic as a result of this. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. Now, what's on your screen right now, I actually did share in a video, I guess it was, I think I shared it that day, it would have been March 25th of this year, 2026. And this, I just want to add some perspective. There's a reason I'm sharing this again. And plus, I know not everybody saw this. But Charting Guy shared this and wrote, top 10 cryptocurrencies performance since Trump's election, November 5th, 2024. So please keep in mind, if you consider that as a starting point, which was a pivotal moment in crypto history for sure, the market absolutely responded to that. That was a key moment for crypto, no question. XRP is the top performing coin from that moment. Up one, even at the time he posted this on March 25th, and you know XRP's down over 50% from its all-time high at $3.65 from July of last year. Still up. Despite that pullback, XRP's still up 159.2%. Incredible to see. And so then he added in a separate post, as much as people hate on it, XRP has held up better than literally everything. So, again, just wanted to add that for some perspective. And obviously, if XRP weren't a threat to so many other people, people would not be shitting all over it irrationally, but so many people suffer from the affliction known as XRP derangement syndrome. And I really do hope that the medical field ends up with some sort of solution to fix this. I don't know if it'll be an ointment that you can just like slather on the skin and then the derangement for XRP goes away. I'm hoping something like that, something non-invasive. I don't know if we're going to get there, but I'm hopeful for a better future just like you guys. So, fingers crossed we'll get there. But the reason that so many people hate XRP is because it is so damn good and it threatens them. It threatens their preferred coin. They're in a tribe. Humans are tribal. It turns out, I'm not sure if you knew that. If you're in crypto, you know that. But yeah, people are tribal. And if something becomes a threat to the thing that's theirs, their little shiny thing, whatever it is, yeah, you better believe that they're going to start to get emotional about it and attack. If XRP were a terrible coin, no one would talk about it. No one. Go to like page 55 of Live Coin Watch. Are any of these people talking about any of those coins? No, they're not. They're talking about XRP. Go figure. Including this individual right here who should know better. He's fairly high profile in crypto, and the more I see this, like, I just lose respect for people like this. I mean, it's one thing to have a little fun, like especially if you're just pushing back against somebody that's being a D-bag and just ripping on coins. Pushing back, I get it. But if you're somebody who is a founder and CEO in the world of crypto, as this guy is, you should know better. Founder and CEO of Ava Labs, of course, building on top of Avalanche, ticker symbol AVAX, and his name is, how do you even say his, Emin Gun Serrar? Emin Serrar. Nailed it. That's how you say his name now. That's the right. I don't know if he knows that. Tell him that's how you say his name, though. So anyway, April Fool's Day, yesterday, he shared this post in the morning. He wrote, banks are choosing Ripple. April Fools, obviously, they actually use Avalanche. Okay, so of course he wouldn't say that if he didn't view XRP itself to be a threat, and he said Ripple. Did he mean Ripple the company? Did he mean XRP? No one fucking knows, because that's how these people talk. It's just, they should feel embarrassed, but they don't. Now, the reason I'm highlighting this is because Charting Guy had a perfect dig on this. Charting Guy reposted that, and he wrote, AVAX made a new all-time high this cycle, outperformed Bitcoin, and is holding its gains better than anything. April Fools, that's actually XRP. That one gets a little golf clap. That was a perfect response. That's a little bit of a slam right there. Pretty happy with that, but it is true that we've had some down months. Take a look at this. This is showing you whether each month since XRP began getting traded back in 2013, this shows you every single month whether XRP was up or down for the month and to what degree percentage-wise. And so you can see here, if you look back in 2014, this is the first time we had 6 down months in a row. Didn't happen again until right now. Here you can see it started October of last year. It was a Black Swan event month. So we had those 3 months, Q4 down, Q4 1 in 2026 down, 6 months. So it's now tied for its worst performance streak in history. That might sound bad to you, or you understand that this is actually when bottoms are formed, when it gets oversold. And also, I just told you that XRP has had, it just matched its worst performance streak time-wise in history. It just matched it, and it's still the #1 performing coin in the crypto asset class since the election in November 2024. It's still #1 despite that. Is that not impressive? Excuse me. I just think that's amazing to know. It really is. Now, that being said, I want to add a few additional things. And I've talked about this, I don't know, once or twice ever on my channel. Worth mentioning since we're talking about this. And I do like the CryptoRank website. It's worth taking a look at this. But keep this in mind, okay? 152 complete months for XRP on CryptoRank exist, since they started tracking back in August of 2013. Right down here where I move my mouse. So, pretty long history here. I mean, obviously XRP is one of the oldest cryptocurrencies in history, but you have 152 complete months since it started tracking, or 153 if you count April, but, we have 1 day worth of data for April, so throw that out. But yeah, if you count in April, it'll be 153, so not a complete month. But check this out. This is fascinating, and things are going to they're going to make so much sense once you know this. I don't think most people in the community know this, but I actually went and counted the data on the screen myself. Only 64 of those months out of the 152, only 64 of the 152 months have been positive. Only 64 have been green. That's it. The other 88 months, they've been down, they've been red. So that means only 42% of months have been positive for XRP holders, while 58% of months have been negative. And most people obviously can't stomach that, which is why most people will never get rich from XRP. But look, think about it. Despite this being the case, XRP is still one of the best performing coins in history and has always been in the top 10 coins by market cap for its entire existence. And so you might be thinking, wow, well, wait a minute. If it's usually down, how could that be the case? Well, it's because the surges to the upside, they more than make up for the pain that you have to endure, by seeing your investment move sideways and down for most of the time. Eventually you hit a new plateau there. But the smart money understands all this. The smart money understands this and just hodls. That's it. Behaviorally, you can very clearly see that's absolutely what's happening. But, I mean, you get beat up if you're an XRP holder. Now, also worth mentioning, I don't know that it would have been quite this bad if not for the SEC suing Ripple. So that does kind of warp the data in a way that obviously, if we had even a truly level playing field the whole time, obviously it would look a little bit different to whatever degree. I don't know. I firmly believe that today the price of XRP would be far higher than it is if not for that interference from the SEC. Now, as awful as that is, we're still playing catch up. It doesn't mean you can't then catch up. It's just, it delayed things for us, obviously. We can't control that, though. So I ain't going to cry about it. I'm just acknowledging reality by citing that, but it is true. But this is why people suck at getting rich from XRP, even though it's the opportunity of a freaking lifetime as far as I'm concerned. The opportunity is real, but it beats you up. Most of the time, you'll be down or sideways, historically speaking. But still, XRP is one of the most successful assets, not just in crypto, but in the history of our species. Starting from being worth nothing to, first half a decade it existed mostly being worth about half a penny, and then rocketing from there. It's been one of the most wild success stories in the history of our species. So yeah, the track record is the track record, and it's not necessarily the most fun if you're freaking out about, if you're the type that's going to glom onto price and feel emotions because of it most of the time, you're going to have a real hard time. If you can just take a step back and understand here's historical data, and the price action in and of itself is not necessarily an indicator of the long-term viability of XRP, well, maybe you can start to have a little bit more fun then. But the smart money definitely gets this. Take a look at the latest data from CoinShares. This was published just 2 days ago. And so the report on the screen here, it's showing institutional investments into the crypto space. And this is for, the data we're looking at is for a 1 week period. So it's the most complete 1 week period ending March 27th. So this past Friday, March 27th, 2026. So it's that Monday through Friday period. What we see is that we had outflows for the week of Bitcoin negative, because these are outflows, negative $194.1 million. And that's purely institutional funds right there, okay? Ethereum even worse. Down $221.8 million for the week. Solana down $12.3 million for the week. But XRP up, not down. Positive inflows, not outflows. XRP up $15.8 million for the week. And I also want to highlight this. So here's the data for XRP on a monthly basis. It is true. Keep in mind, perspective here. Spot XRP ETFs have only existed since November of 2025. So we've got 5 months worth of data. And November technically wasn't even a complete month because the first one launched November 13th. But we'll just say we've got 4 complete months worth of data. Okay, fine, whatever. So we did see our first down month in March 2026. Okay, well, you can't have, you're not going to trend up perfectly in a straight line forever. So whatever, not a huge deal. But I wanted to highlight this because what just happened here? I just showed you that for the first time in 12 years, we had 6 months worth of negative price action for XRP. For the first time in 12 years, 6 months. What happened here, though? Spot XRP ETFs through the roof. And this, we're talking almost exclusively institutional money. Through the freaking roof. That's the smart money. So what's that tell you? It tells you, while the typical lemming retailers were panic selling, we actually had on the institutional side, the smart money side, we actually had a boatload of money flow into XRP. They're positioned. Absolutely. Tons of these firms are positioned. So that's why another reason I said at the outset, okay, it might sound negative, 6 months, not exactly the most fun first time in 12 years story you might want to hear, but it's actually not such a bad story if you understand the broader context of what's going on. We had a black swan event in crypto. You know everything that's been happening for the last half year, roughly. So despite price going down, XRP funds still through the roof on an institutional level. That's impressive. Because I'll tell you this, the smart money, right here on your screen, they don't get wrong-footed. It's the lemming retail speculators that make important financial decisions based on their emotions. They wrong-foot themselves. The best is yet ahead. Could not be more obvious. What a time to be an XRP holder, folks. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because if anything I say are right, that would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.